Alex looks up unsurprisingly as another eye vendor shatters above her. Snow poured down on the horses as she searches for another eye in her inventory. Although she has been traveling by herself for quite some time now, all by herself, she couldn't take her mind off of Steve. It was my fault, really, she thinks to herself, remembering when she ran off on her own, leaving Steve behind because of one tribe member. She had fought and killed so many of them before that, and she couldn't believe that was the reason she left him. She didn't understand why she was so concerned about him. Alex never liked him in that way. Sure, they had helped each other on this quest, dealt with each other and kept the other company, but it didn't make their relationship any more special. They were still mortal enemies, right? Alex shakes her head. Steve was right. She had wanted him dead all this time. She had forced herself to take Steve with her, but really, she wanted to be the only human alive on this world, using whatever means she had. However, she had tolerated him through all of the times, and even though he did some stupid things, she had to admit, she couldn't have gone this far without him. But, that wasn't what she wanted now. She feels bad for leaving him there, and she's beating herself up because he's probably dead now, all because of her. Even the dog empathized, showing a similar depressed demeanor. The cold air around Alex had creeped up on her, and so had the night. Alex and the animals had to find a shelter before it got dark. If it snowed and got dark, Alex was certain that all of them would freeze to death. In the distance, Alex spots a stone cove and decides that they really had no other choice but to use that one. She drives the horses towards the hollow hill. It was deep, but ended up being a dead end, which was exactly what she and the animals needed. Alex parks the animals by tying them to a fence post. Near that, she dug a block out of the ground and replaced it with network. Igniting it, the air around it bursts into flame. The fire was small and contained. Not only was the fire a center of heat, but also a sufficient light source that illuminated most of the cove. All of a sudden, her dog had started barking, like a presence was threatening the four. Alex takes out her diamond sword, ready to take on anything that came out of the snow. She waits for a minute, but no one came. Maybe someone was outside. Her dog would not stop barking at the snow. Cautiously, she takes a step forward into the icy grounds. Looking down, she sees a familiar head buried in the snow. Steve! She exclaims, equipping her shovel and digging at the dirt and the terrain around him. Steve! Are you awake? Say something. She digs out enough where she can lift him up to the cave. Like a grown carrot, Alex lifts him out of the ground. She then carries him near the fire. Steve, please wake up. Alex's dog walks up to Steve and sniffs around him. Lay off him, Vix. Alex was beginning to tear up again. Why was he important to her? Why did she make a big deal out of this? Steve was aimless and held a torch in his hand, which was put out by the snow. He didn't show any injuries other than severe frostbite. Alex doesn't know what to do about it. She doesn't know if she's going to be able to fight the Ender threat if she can't even keep her teammate alive. I'm crying because of the Ender threat, right? Not because of Steve, right? Right, Alex? Her mind kept going on and on like this, all while watching if Steve would ever wake up. No, she accepts defeat and cries next to Steve. Never before has she felt so helpless in her life. She has everything she needs. Diamonds, a huge mansion, perpetual farms. But never has Alex also realized the importance of a single person. Alex had to try something. She wasn't just going to leave him here. Digging through her inventory, she takes out a potion of regeneration the second. Vix brings a blanket over to Steve while Alex tries to administer the medicine. Alex sits back, not knowing if the potion even reaches his system at all. Beginning to cry again, she leans her head against the stone wall, eventually falling asleep. Alex slowly gains consciousness. It's okay, Alex, don't cry, I'm here, Steve is home. She opens her eyes and sees Steve looking into them. He wipes away a tear. Why are you crying? He asks, smiling. So we still mortal enemies? Or, Alex shakes her head and begins to cry again. This time, however, they were tears of joy. Alex laughs and hugs him to the ground. You're alive. She exclaims, causing Steve to laugh with her. He looks up, and they both catch each other's eyes for a moment. Alex rolls off, still hugging Steve. Please, don't leave me like that again, scared of the dark. You don't need me. You got your dog, scared of the emptiness. I do need you, and the animals won't fill that void, Steve chuckles. So I'd partly fill in your world, Steve says, raising an eyebrow. Alex, looking away, blushes and quickly nods her head. Don't be embarrassed, Steve pulls her in for a bigger hug. You fill mine too.